this is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got with the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God!
big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Welcome to Drop Round Central, the final 4 rounds of any iRacing championship when it comes to official series end in drop rounds. This is where you consolidate your championship. You look to try and claw yourself up point by point by point, and now you start to build up the blocks for the end of the season. It is a big battle at the top because there is 1 round's difference that's going to come into play here for one of our title contenders, and the only place you're finding this is on the iRacing Esports Network, a SimSpeed TV presentation as we head to my favourite track of them all, here at Imola. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching around the world. Here at your Monday night V8s, it's Jake Sperry here in the commentary box, joined alongside by Jake Burton here as we get ourselves ready in qualifying for racing action that is about to go on 27 laps here today around this famous Italian circuit, famous for the San Marino Grand Prix, just less than 100 kilometers away from that. Burton, this place is going to be a tough challenge here today. Drivers up and down the order will be looking to try and improve on their own results, and as things stand, there's one man head and shoulders above here in qualifying. He's the man who won the split before this one, and that is Jake Maloney by a full 6:10.
Yeah, good evening, Sperry, and our fellow Jake, as you've just mentioned, has absolutely smashed the field in qualifying. It's a 45-degree track temperature here tonight, meaning I think that second lap is going to be pretty much null and void in terms of tyres. So he has got pole by a long way, assuming that no one else pulls anything out of the bag late in the session. That is a huge qualifying margin. Maloney prides himself on being quite fast at Imola. I know he's had a lot of success here in the past, but to come out and blow the field away by 6/10, not to mention his TTR teammate in Madison Down, that is a seriously impressive qualifying time.
We are starting to see drivers improving slightly. Madison Down up into 4th position at this moment in time on a 42.7 here, so that's both his laps all said and done. Andrew Dyson making a push to the line. He's currently scored in 8th place, but he's going to dive it down into the lane. He will not find many improvements. Thomas Hinn up to 16th place in the number 9 machine, a 43.5 from him, 1.4 seconds off of pole position. Ryan O'Sullivan will not find any improvements. He's going to be looking at starting his times, but drivers like Brenton Hobson and Brian Borg looking for times at the moment. Borg is in 15th place. Borgie had a lot of respect coming out of last week with the sportsmanship that he found, so we'll see as he pulls himself off down onto the lane. But here's Hobbo, the number 88. He normally runs, but today he'll have to be 12 as he comes over the line, and he does himself a 5.76. So that's really showing you consistency there, Burton. He was 2,000 slower than his first lap.
Yeah, you'd have to argue on this 45-degree track, though, Sperry, with how quick these tyres come up to speed nowadays, that he probably made a bit of a mistake on his first lap for him to match it on the second. So good job by Hobbo in terms of consistency, as you say. Imola is one of those circuits that it's challenging to pass, but the track's open enough and it's got a nice amount of slow-speed corners that really mean you can get the power down, that even if you qualify averagely around here, you are going to be able to get the move done and hopefully move forward. But we do have a pit stop as well tonight, meaning that the undercut will be quite prevalent on this hot track too.
Exactly, Thomas McMillan's jumped up to 14th place. Here's Hanlon, and it's a 44.1, so he does not improve on his time either, so that's not going to work, and there is going to be no opportunities for anybody to get around and get another lap on the board. So that's going to mean that qualifying is scored complete, and this is how the grid is going to look right now. Jake Maloney will start this one on the pole position, 142.194. He'll have Brady Myers alongside him in the Ultimate Esports car. Cooper Webster starts this one from third, with Madison Down in fourth position. Wayne Burke fifth, and Jordan Caruso starting this one from sixth place. Tom Freer goes from seventh, with Andrew Dyson alongside in eighth place, with Adam Briggs and Ryan O'Sullivan rounding out the top 10.
And over the page we go, Sperry. Harley Haber. That is not the qualifying lap that he needs if he wants to keep any piece of this championship still together as we're heading towards these last few rounds. Rob Bowden in 12th, with Corey Preston and Thomas McMillan on the 6th row. That's a bit of a terrifying row, to say the least, with Zach Hanlon in 15th, with Brian Borg and Thomas Hinsey. I believe we still have the webcam going for him, which you may see. Oh, my bad. So we're not going to see Hinsey tonight, but Steve Jansen in 18th, Christian Smart 19th, and Brenton Hobson in 20th.
Jack Widders starts 21st, Lee Ellis in 22nd. Then you got Clint Shane Smith, Kurt Sternberg, David Kinmond going from 25th, Darren Lobb 26th, Greg Sharp and Guy Leach, followed by Wayne Hewitt and Samuel Collins, and Brody Kostecki not setting a lap time here in qualifying. Worth noting in terms of the championship, no James Scott here at Imola today, so he'll be using one of the 4 drop rounds he has available, and it's 3 points then for Madison Down, as he will look to push his 160 odd points back, which in a field like this one today may be slightly reduced in terms of the strength of field. This might be a time where Madison needs to be up there at the pointy end alongside Jake Maloney and co, as they'll look to get themselves going. Do not count out Cooper Webster for this championship. All drop rounds by him are used, but he has been up there so consistent, and he will be making a late charge in this season if he is to turn up for the final 4 rounds. So keep an eye on Cooper Webster's performances here today as we wait for the final couple of drivers. Jordan Caruso as we go, as there's the green flag actually, so Caruso not in session as they go. Maloney's had an absolutely shocking start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places dropped as there goes through Brady Myers into the race leads. They head to Tamburello for the first time. Burke looking down the inside, he's not going to find anything, and what a start as well it has been from Harley Haber as there's carnage in the background. 2 vehicles going around. McMillan is one of them, and I think Preston was the other, and there's more dramas here, even more as 2 more get sent to the Ayrton Senna statue.
Yeah, it looks like McMillan and Preston are actually 3 wide. I believe that was Hanlon on the inside there. Probably a little bit ambitious by Hanlon, and I think 3 into 1 just doesn't quite go, and Preston around the front of McMillan, leading to a bit of a multi-car pile-up there. It's a shame for those guys, but looking back up to the front, awful start from Jake Maloney. It looked like he might have...
Oh, contact with Tom Freer. That's so deep at Piratella, as now Maloney's going to pick one up on Tom Freer, but Haber gets it through. But look at that, Freer coming back down at Aqua Minerale, and he gets the move sorted back on Maloney. So Maloney taking it tentative here in the early stages, but at the front it is 1 and 2 trying to break away. Myers and Webster trying to get themselves some gap here in the early stages then of this race, as you see drivers all filing their way through the modified chicane there at the Variante Alta, a far cry from the danger that it was. But again, look at Maloney here trying to think about a move down into the first of the 2 Ravats as a tough braking zone down the hill. Gravity not helping you at any stage as you go on through this section, and ultimately now you've got this massive 1K straight which winds and weaves itself through to end the lap. A lap of 27 already put in the books.
Yeah, it's really fascinating what happened to Maloney there off that start. He'll be livid after that awesome qualifying performance.
Oh, look at it, it's from Webster trying to go down the inside for the race lead. He's stuck on the outside though, he can't get it, Burton.
Yeah, that's it. Cooper Webster having an awesome run of form lately. Those regular viewers here on the iRacing Esports Network would have seen him become a very impressive P2 in the Porsche Esports Super Cup GT4 support race on the weekend. Cooper's absolutely flying lately, and Brady, a very, very big veteran when it comes to Imola. He loves this place, and of course Madison Down, one of our championship contenders. So this race up the front certainly has potential to be very interesting.
On in the middle as well. Ryan O'Sullivan tried to get through on Tom Freer, but he slid on the exit of Toza, and here comes one Andrew Dyson even there in the DPR car to make the move. So Dyson gets himself a way through. Rob Bowden and Zach Hanlon now waiting for a way to find a move through, but ultimately he's going to try and get himself a wait at this point in time. There's no chance of getting that one to happen, so this is going to be a case where drivers can very easily around this place here, Burton, really hold each other up by just not being able to make that move. These corners are just wide enough and long enough that you have to pretty much just sit and wait on the back and hope that a move is possible.
Yeah, that's it, Sperry. As much as this circuit is, a shadow of what it once was in terms of danger, it's still very old school in terms of you've got pretty much no tarmac runoff here. And in this rendition of iRacing's V7 tyre model, a drop wheel around this place is going to land you in the fence at just about every corner. So it's a consideration you've got to make when you're going for these big moves. If you make it a little bit too late, typically you might have lost.
You might lose time, but look at this. Harley Haber ran the outside here in the second part to Tamburello, and inside of the third has got by Wayne Burke, and suddenly Adam Briggs wants in as well on the one performance racing driver whose consistency values of knocking up inside the top 10 of pretty much every race he enters is now starting to be put into a little bit of a challenge right now. But Burton, you're absolutely right. Sorry to cut you thunder, but Harley Haber now up into 4th place.
Been a mega opening few laps from Harley Haber, hasn't it? Very smart drive. Admittedly, I think there are a couple cars that came together, but he's gone from 11th to 5th. He smells Madison down now.
Oh no, there's dramas. That's Dyson getting attacked there from Hanlon. There were 3 wide into Piratella, and all of a sudden he drops the back 4 places because of it, and it was madness going through that section. Let's get a motion simulation replay, Burton. How difficult is it to go 3 wide into a corner, which is pretty much traditionally not a passing place?
Yeah, that's it. The big thing about this circuit, Sperry, is you don't have a lot of room to make these kind of moves, like I say, and all it takes is one drop wheel and you're in the fence. So 2 wide around here is tricky in spaces, let alone football.
Exactly, and there you can see it here on your motion simulation replay, just how tough it was to go through that section of road, and you can't afford to be going too aggressive in the early stage. Remember, this is a 27-lap race. We look at Adam Briggs here in the number 5, trying to push down against Wayne Burke in the number 6 car. So they're very similar in terms of what their iRatings suggest that they are in terms of pace, as the top 7 in terms of iRating are actually first to 7th at the moment, so that shows that they are the quickest drivers here as they head to the left and the right. At this moment in time, no chances there of moves in the early goings, but look at the train that is starting to form behind. It goes all the way down to Darrell Orban 19th, as here comes Brody Kostecki trying to open up the door on Thomas Hint. He gets right to the back bumper, run to the Gilles Villeneuve chicane on the brakes, and gets a little bit of a rear quarter panel going through there. And you know what? Hint is going to send him to the fence.
And now we're 3 wide, and
that's dumb.
Just turned Hinsey there. So
let's look at something else. That was stupid.
Yeah, I'm not going to call that intentional because he was 3 wide and he might not have realised it, but that was really, really messy from Kostecki. He started at the back, obviously trying to make his way forward, but looking back further up towards the front, we've got some 2 wide action as well coming down into the double rights at the bottom of the hill, but
oh no, and there's the contact there. No, that's Hanlon going around, and everyone's going to get caught up in that. 1, 2, 3 vehicles find themselves around. Hanlon's going to drop a massive amount of positions there. The middle of the pack heating up. It's on for the race lead, Webster and Myers as well, but suddenly the mid pack's exploded.
Yeah, that was messy, as we said, Sperry. There's not many places around this track you can go 2 wide, and you pronounced that corner beautifully, but I'm just going to call it the double right side. My Italian isn't great, so yeah, really easy down there to make a mistake. It's really a 1-line corner, so going 2 wide is always going to lead to something like that.
You can see as well when you go up the hill, you've got this fork oversteer that comes in when you try and put the power down in these vehicles, and that's where you really struggle with these types of vehicles. Christian Smart, though, is under pressure here as Rob Bowden's going to try and ease his way to the outside to try and get this one done at Tamburello corner. This left chicane, and has he got enough going through here? Turn 2, he's over the anti-cut curves a bit, so Smart will survive through this section. Rob Bowden's going to lose one here, and there through down the inside is Andrew Dyson, who comfortably picks it up. There's a move going on a little bit further forward, though. That's Jake Maloney through on Adam Briggs down at the Tozer corner, one of the slowest places on the circuit.
Yeah, that's it. And Maloney, all things considered, considering the amount of cars he's had to pass and how messy his start was, he's only... Yeah, who's that off the track then?
Hinsey.
Yeah,
With a blown engine, and he's just not taking that one back to the garage yet. So Thomas Hinz is in the fence, and pretty much his day is done.
Yeah, so not a good day in the office for Hinsey. I'm hoping he gets back to the PC and gets that car out of the way. It is a long way off the track, probably not somewhere you want to be all race. So looking back up towards the front now, Cooper Webster is all over the back of Brady Myers, and I saw a massive, massive lift under brakes there from Cooper Webster. He is trying to pass Brady in the pits. He's right behind Brady. Brady's quite quick, and he's like, right, I'm going to lift out of the throttle 100 metres early, save a heap of fuel, and then gap in the pit lane, I think is the strategy.
And that's traditionally what you see from the Evolution Racing team. Look at the run he's getting, though. Moving to the door shut. No room at the inside for Cooper Webster. That was a late call, and I think a lesser driver would have gone for that gap. Webster, despite being a youthful driver, using banks and banks of experience there to make sure he did not get himself caught up in that. And look who's just lurking a second behind right now. It's Madison Down in the #1 machine, the driver who is looking to try and take the race lead in the championship with a good result. Race lead in the championship, looking to take the race lead for 1, looking to take the lead in the championship for 2. He's sat a second behind, looking for maybe pull up onto the back of Cooper Webster. My turn to save a bit of fuel.
Yeah, that's it. I'm also quite impressed with Harley Haber. He started this race in 11th place and is sitting P4, and last lap pretty much matched Madison Down and the race leaders. So if Harley can do something clever in the pits, I think he's actually got the pace to challenge here. Both of these guys competing at a round that we know James Scott isn't here, and these are our championship competitors. So every second matters in this race, and I think Madison will want to catch this pack before Harley catches him.
Side by side, Steve Jansen and Guy Leach going at it. Leachy looking for an opportunity. He does not find it just yet, but he's got the move done here on Jansen as they head down the hill to Aqua Minerale. Behind that, though, there's Greg Sharp in the Stealth Simcourse car trying to push forward. Jack Widdus just behind that as well. This mid-pack has not relented for any points here in this race, Burton, and this is the key as well. Can stay in the draft quite nicely, but look at Sharp with the issues now. Jack Winners good run off the exit. Of course, it was too far wide, but you can see the widest car at the moment, and he's trying to go for Ryan Hunter race style moves on the grass, and he just cannot find a way by. No, that's not the way you do it. That's the chrome horn move.
Yeah, again, another messy sort of mid-pack battle that we've got going on here. Bit of a weird one for Greg Sharp, and with that V7 tyre model, like I say, he's battling to get that thing through the sand and back onto the road, so he's lost heaps of time.
He absolutely has at this moment, so you've got to keep this in mind as this race continues. Every driver's going to be looking for results, and they need positions, but they need them cleanly here today, and that's going to be the key, I think, for so many drivers. Make sure that you get a clean pass, a clean overtake, a clean result. Someone who's going to have to wait and try and make sure that happens is Jake Maloney here in the #3 machine. He's in 6th position right now, Burton. And remember, he absolutely blitzed the field when it came to pole position. Race pace, though, he is stuck right now, and it is a very, very clear stuck because Wayne Burke is getting that slipstream ahead from Harley Haber.
Yeah, that's it. And I wouldn't actually mind at some point having a bit of a ride on board with Maloney, especially in this complex up here, Sperry. When you're behind a few cars here, it's so hard to sight those apexes. Maloney does quite a good job that lap round, but it's so tricky with so many of these chicanes here. You get it a lot at turns 1 and 2, as well as 4 and 5. With this direction change, when you got one of those big Commodores plastered in front of you, makes it so hard to sight those apexes.
Exactly, and that's the key here. You've got to make sure that every apex you hit is pretty much spot on. When you got the high noses that these style of Australian touring cars do, you know that you have to be pretty much on it as you try and get yourself going through. Something else that we haven't really talked about here, Burton, is pit lane, as Webster again closing up to the back of Brady Myers, but not in position to make a move. It's just how long, actually, that pit lane is as they go through. As here comes Maloney on cue, going to go down the inside of Wayne Burke, and he's going to get the move done here into Tamburello. The prime overtaking opportunity, he has nailed it, so he's up into fifth. We're talking about pit lane. It's a long pit lane, so when you've got a pack of cars which is split by 9 seconds and 17 positions, you don't want to be anywhere near that when you come in for your stop, Burton.
Yeah, that's it. I think the other thing as well, Sperry, is just the track temperature. You've got a lot of acceleration zones here, loaded acceleration zones. Like off the hairpin, we've seen Maloney go through just there, down the bottom of the hill, like we've mentioned, as well as the chicanes in the last corner. You really don't want to undercut people. We saw, I can't quite remember who it was. I think it might have been Jack Boyd. No. One of the front runners last week tried to go for quite an aggressive undercut, and it really, really punished them. And I think that's it, Caruso. And I think we're going to see the same sort of penalty here. And I think these guys are going to probably leave it to about lap 11 or 12 to make their stops.
Of course, we're on lap 8 right now of the event. It's startling to think that there's so much action going on. You'd think it's lap 15. Wide in front of Steve Jansen goes Guy Leach, and all of a sudden the position is going to change back again here. This one, 19th, 20th, 21st. Jack Winners there, but wide Aqua Minerale. Small strip across on the outside makes it tough, but there again, wide goes Leach, and through the middle. Let's thread a needle, why don't we, Jack? As he looks to go on and try and get himself away through. He'll be defended all the way at the Variante Alta. Of course, it's the only chicane, but it will still be colloquially known as the Alta. The battle now is the Moto layout chicane, and ultimately Winners losing out to Jansen as they all now check it behind. Kinman and Lob trying to chase down in here as they head for Ravazza as they're up at the front.
Yeah, Maloney, he's trying to make more positions, and he's got it done on Harley Haber. 2 from 2 in 2 laps from Jake Maloney, showing that pace that he's got, although knowing Harley, he won't give it straight back. So Harley looking for a bit of an underlay. Not going to do it this time.
Such a tough place at Villeneuve to really hold yourself too wide. You've got that really open and expansive left hand. You have to have an overlap there if you're going to make a move, and that's not the case for Haber. He will now stay behind Maloney, and this might actually be a blessing in disguise because Maloney can now put the hammer down, and he's got to put the hammer down at a rate of knots of about 3 seconds now here, Burton, to get all the way back to his teammate Madison in third.
Yeah, that's it. Maloney is driving with anger at the moment. You can tell he's frustrated. He pulled this race by 6 tenths and was 10th by turn 1. He wants to get back up to the front, and he can see his teammate in his sights. He's already pulled a few tenths on Haber.
He already has, but we'll see how this one plays out the longer that this race goes on for this one. So now you start thinking about, okay, who are my rivals? Where is my strategy coming in? 3-car battle going on with that is going to be Brian Borg now holding up the train here with Rob Bowden, Brody Kostecki on the back. Andrew Dyson is there as well as they head into the right lefts, and Kostecki pretty much no man's land. Notice probably this position of Rhino Sullivan, or these positions of Rhino Sullivan, the last places that he can possibly make, because all of that fighting has cost them so much. This group here, we're on lap 9, and they are already 22 seconds behind the race lead, as here looks Webster again, not close enough here into turn 1. He's trying everything he can, but he's not close enough just yet. Can he get a good run off the exit? Little slide there from Brady Myers might open an opportunity, but again, Villeneuve is not the type of corner conducive to overtaking, Bert.
Yeah, that's it. To be honest, if I was Cooper Webster, I'd just sit there, save fuel. When you're behind, you have the ability to control the strategy. So Brady Myers is going to have to pick when he pits, and if Cooper gets this lead, he could very easily get undercut by Brady Myers and lose all that time and fuel that he saved. Bear in mind, these guys are about 6 tenths a lap slower than what they were at the start of this race. So if Brady Myers, undercuts Cooper Webster, all that fuel that he saved is going to be put to waste.
Exactly, you look at these drivers at the front, they've been doing 43 flats, their quickest laps, 43.1 quickest lap from Madison down, 49 is the quickest though from Jake Maloney, who's trying to push on through the field. So this is going to be a key here to this race. Who is going to put themselves primed and poised to try and use the stops to advantage? And the only driver who's been saving fuel out of the front 3 has been Cooper Webster. He's been the only one with drops, and in fact, actually how much Brady Myers has been pushing to try and break a gap away, but struggling. They've pulled out another second on Madison down. It's up to 2 seconds almost the gap between Webster and down.
Yeah, that's it. I'm really excited to see what number Jake Maloney pulls out this time by. This is his first clean lap since clearing this pack, and he's pulled pretty much a second on Haber. So he is lightning fast. So it's a 43.8 from down and a 43.4 from Maloney, having passed several cars in this stint. So Maloney is absolutely flying. So if you're Maloney, you maybe think about an undercut to get you back into this pack.
That could be key. You've also got these other drivers trying to battle it out. Harley Haber and Wayne Burke pretty much running line of stern at this point. 400s in favour of Wayne Burke. At this point in time, through the right, they come along as they look to use all of that AstroTurf there on the outside before hitting the brakes into Tozer, the toughest corner on this track at this moment in time. So keep an eye on another battle going on. Look at this, Lee Ellis and Zach Hanlon going at it 13th and 14th. They're also coming up into this section right now, and you've got to give a bit of credit here to Zach Hanlon. He's doing so without that cover on the front, so he looks for the inside here at Tozer. He gets himself a nose through, but Ellis pretty much bold enough, brave enough to open up the steering through that section and know that Hanlon can't get by.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good heads-up bit of driving from Lee Ellis there. He really wasn't far enough up, and Lee's opened the steering, as you said, and fortunately avoided a bit of contact. Really good driving from Lee, but stoked to see where this battle goes in the next few laps.
Big wiggle as well, heading for Aqua Minerale and up the hill. Good run actually there from Hanlon. He will have an opportunity as he looks towards the Variante Alta. On the brakes he'll be looking, and Lee Ellis, well, he knows he's been aggressive. Oh, he turned in early, and Zach Hanlon was still there at the door. He's going to get a slow down penalty here as the Altus man. And all of a sudden now, here's Lee Ellis under pressure from his own teammate, and that is Stenny.
Yeah, that's it. Lee versus Stenny will be an interesting little bit of a fight. Bear in mind, you've got McMillan a little bit further back from these guys, so they probably don't want to fight too hard and involve him in that battle. I would think these two will probably just work together now to try and see if they can at least hang with Hanlon and maybe get by him before the pit stop fade.
That's going to be key. Hanlon has served a slow down penalty, so he's got away with it. Here comes Kostecki, though, to the inside of Rob Bowden. I think this is going to be an easy move, going to be score complete. And the answer is yes, it is, as they go through Tamburello's section. Bowden trying to open up that narrow line through the second part, but will not get there. So Kostecki comfortably jumps up now into the top 10 in this race. But once more, it is leading to, and Webster is just playing this long game absolutely fantastically here in number 2. Guy's got 37 all over it as he looks to push up through, and look at that, a great run again coming out of Aqua Minerale, and if he wants to make that move, he can, but they can't afford to be playing chicken too much here. If they start checking each other up and Myers decides, I want to save some fuel, I'm tired of hauling you around the track and carrying you on my back, then they're going to easily allow Madison down back in. I saw something very similar in a Skip Barber race a couple years ago with a young Tom Ward at one point in time, where they both hit the brakes on the straights and they lost 3 seconds because none of them wanted to lead.
Yeah, that's it. You know, I'm actually less worried about Madison down at the moment. I wonder if Madison's maybe saving some fuel to cover Cooper Webster. I'm worried about Jake Maloney if I were these guys. His lap times, considering how much more fighting he's had to do compared to this front three, is just unbelievable. He's consistently faster than them. So an undercut from Maloney, which is less of a risk when clearly his tyre wear is quite good, could really see him back in this fight. So I'd be seriously concerned about Maloney with his pace at the moment.
Well, that could be the case here. Maloney 43.6 that last time by. Leaders 43.8, 43.6, 43.9. So it's a case of chipping away like you're trying to be an artiste on marble at this moment in time. So we'll see how these battles all continue on. There are still things going on here towards the mid to late pack at this moment in time. You've got Guy Leach and Darren Lobb at it at the moment as they head themselves into the Tamburello corner, and not close enough for any move just yet, but this is right down the order that we're seeing here at this point. And one driver who is very much down the order, in 1.7 lap that last time by, was Corey Preston, who I believe has had a moment somewhere out on circuit beyond my end, and that is a turn that we do believe we have seen from him. So that's a shame for Corey Preston's turn for that battle. Here's the race lead though, 0.2 of a second. It's all that needs to be said really. It's 0.2 of a second staying there. Webster's had ample time to go and make a move, but again, he's happy just to sit there, wait, and make sure that by strategy, he has zero risk factor in terms of the way he gets by Brady Myers.
Yeah, that's it. I wouldn't be surprised if we see these guys duck in. Yeah, Brady Myers absolutely struggling with that rear tyre life. So now, Cooper Webster, he's got to put down a flying outlap here right? So he's going to try and get a bit of an overcut. He knows he's going to get an undercut on fuel. So if he can have better fuel and not pay for it and then have better tyres, he's going to win this race. Oh, but he's made a
wiggle. Wow,
Oh.
He got the grass on the outside on entry. That's going to cost him a half a second or so as he goes through. Great car control to bring it back in. But the only drivers who stayed out were Webster, Maloney, and Briggs. Everybody else is pretty much in the lane. Kostecki will go by quite a few people. But now you start wondering who's going to win the sweepstakes on pit lane as they look to try and get themselves off and away. Long holds. Myers should go first as he looks to try and pull on forward, as there he goes. Madsen down will soon follow. There he goes. And there's Harley Haber getting the go, and he comfortably beats out one Mr. Wayne Burke going through on that stop. So some good work there in the pits, but they stay as they are. And in fact, Myers, I believe, has maybe gained a little bit off of that stop compared to Madison.
Yeah, no surprises there. Myers was sort of controlling the race, and Madison was on a bit of an island all the time. But Cooper Webster, after that mistake, he has to pit this lap. There's no way, because otherwise you're susceptible to Madison down, because Madison was only about a second and a half back, and if you make half a second mistake, you lose about 6/10 due to the undercut. Even with that bit of fuel, an extra lap could cost him, so he really needs to pit this lap, and if he's saved as much fuel as we think he's saved, he should pop out in front of Brady Myers.
Well, we'll see how this one all works out, whether he does come in to cover the move or he's going even longer for that that overcut. Actually, in terms of strategy, no, he dives down for the lane. Race leader hits pit road here at Imola on lap 14, finishing start of lap 15. He'll have 13 laps when he comes out of the pits. Maloney following in, as is Adam Briggs, going to dive down in onto pit road. So everybody making the call around the halfway stage, try and get things going. Webster looking for his box. It will be the third to last box out on strategy. Maloney will hit his mark pretty neatly as well. The question will now become, where is Brady Myers right now here, Burton? He's heading his way to Ravazza.
Yeah, that's it. It is a long pit lane, so we're going to be waiting a while to get this result here. But I would think, even with the half-second mistake that he made and the 6/10 undercut, there's no way. He has to have saved so much fuel behind Brady Myers in that stint. So unless he's made a mistake, he should have Brady covered, I would have thought here. And Cooper's off the jacks at the line, limiter off, starts to accelerate, and Brady's going to have him.
Oh, there he goes, and not much you can do about that one, Cooper. You're going to have to get it done on the road, and that's the issue here. Brady Myers all of a sudden has to play defense. He's come out ahead of Cooper Webster, Madison in third, Maloney in fourth, and now all of a sudden, drivers here and drivers there looking like they're trying to make their runs through. One thing I have noticed is Harley Haber has dropped way down the order. He's down there in pit lane and has been there for a very, very long time. And I think that he has had to come back in for a stop and hold of some kind to try and get himself back going again. Maybe caught speeding on the lane.
I was so impressed with the first couple laps from Harley. Really good recovery drive, so that's a massive shame. I think that might actually be 2 weeks in a row that Harley's had to make a second penalty pit stop. So really pressure situations punishing Harley Haber at this point. And just taking a look at the in-laps for our race leader, 59 flat for Myers, 59.6 for Webster, and the margin currently sits at about 6/10. So that mistake is what gave that track position to Brady Myers.
Exactly, and that's been the key here to this race. It's all about track position right now. Andrew Dyson trying to get going again as he's got Rob Bowden to think about in front as these two look to scrap it out. They're ahead of Brian Borg. They've leapfrogged him in the pit stop, so we'll see how this one plays out as they go up Acqua Minerale and towards the Variante Alta. And for the moment, Dyson is happy to sit and wait. The big opportunities at Tamburello, and that comes in about half a lap.
Yeah, race leader though, slowly gaining on Brady Myers. Our margin at the line, like we said, 3/10. So an absolute shame that Cooper made that mistake, but he's going to be all over the back of Myers now. A lap younger tyres, not a huge amount, but on this outlap, it's massive. You drop a huge amount after that first lap on this kind of tyre temp. So I think if Cooper wants to get this done, he's got to do it this lap.
Well, he's got to think about where's the right place to attack here on lap 16 of 27. 12 laps to go here at Imola on the brakes through Tozer. Closes up, but again, Myers just happy to put the power down on the exit here. Webster no positions to go and attack here at this next 90-degree left-hander. That is the Piratella corner. They'll get a yellow flag to go through every time because of Thomas Hinds, so they'll just look over. Yep, that's Hinds on the right-hand side. And now they go down the hill, looking here, using all of the road here through the right. And Webster is just priming himself, poising himself for the right time to make a move. He gets a great run up the hill, and does he dare look here at the next right here of the Variante Alta? He decides he's going to wait for the front stretch.
Yeah, that's it. Just a slight duck into the mirrors there for Cooper. Let Brady know he's there. Put the pressure on. That's a move that Sandman used to love on the old V8 broadcast. He used to love filling the mirrors up, and that's exactly what Cooper Webster's doing. He will have much better drive off this last corner with those lap pressure tyres, and then the draft should pull him right up. Awesome exit from Cooper Webster. Tight and fast. He's going to have this move done into turn 1, but expect some defense from Brady.
Well, you can see here Myers trying to use all of the road. Where is Webster going to go and try and get this one done? He's going to be forced to try and go the long way, is he? Yes, he does. Commits to the outside line. Contact between them. Round goes Webster. He's going to have to go straight on here through the gravel. And Myers holds on for the moment, but they're holding each other up. And all of a sudden, Madison down may just be half in that one. That was a little cheeky there as they went on through there. Webster had superior time on the brakes, and a little tap from Myers as they went on through. It does, of course, funnel to the left there under brakes.
Yeah, I think that's really all that was. I don't think there was any malice or any sort of cause in that. I think the track just goes towards the left, and Brady won't be used to braking from that side of the road, and Cooper was in deep too. Just a little bit of a lack of room given on both parties, I think there. Bit of a clumsy mistake. I think that's really going to hurt Cooper Webster in this race. That would have scorched those rear tyres, and I think that might even, take his chance of being able to stay with Brady away.
Well, he's got to have 2 good laps, clean laps to cool the tyres down before he gets himself going. He can't go too aggressive now. The hyperheating of the tyre model version 7 cannot afford to have, but crucially, even after that contact, he still stays within a 1 second window, not for DRS or anything like that, but for the toe, which becomes crucial around this place. It's about a 50-meter margin at the moment that Brady Myers has, but Webster will try and claw that back down in any which way that he can in the latter stages of this race. Let's look, though, at a different place in terms of battling going on at the moment, because Guy Leach has been dispatched by Harley Haber, and he's looking at next driver here, next driver there. That is Brenton Hobson getting all of the slides on as he goes on through. He had more slides than the kid at the playground, but ultimately heads himself through the right, and the Synergy Sim Racing car looks very out of shape, looks more like he's in a dirt broadcast than he is pretty much in a Monday Night V8, and that is the easiest move Harley Haber will have.
Yeah, Hobbo been doing a lot of dirt racing lately, funnily enough. He's well known in the community, so I think that car is quite beaten up, and he's doing a lot of sliding it around. But taking a look at our race lead now, Cooper Webster, big move down the inside of Brady Myers. I love that pass, awesome job, moved up.
Where did he find that? There was not a gap there. Myers thought he had it covered, but then Cooper Webster sold him his own shoelaces as he went on through, and he's got the position, and he has caught one Mr. Brady Myers napping at that section. You do not leave a gap open on the inside when Cooper Webster is going to be aggressive to make that move. That was a 50, if not 20% move to get that one done, but Cooper Webster, he forced his way in like a burglar at the night.
I really feel for Brady Myers. I made a very similar pass on him last year, and it was another one of those ones where he sort of sat mid-track, wasn't sure if he was defending or not, and he just left one car width there for Cooper Webster, and he took absolutely all of it to get that move done. Awesome, awesome pass by Cooper.
It's not over, though, in this race. Look at Jake Maloney and where he is. He caught the back of Madison down, and we know how much pace Maloney has under the number 3 Trans-Tasman racing car. And while there are no team orders when it comes to Trans-Tasman racing here, Burton, Madison Down will know that for the overall race victory, he can see that Maloney's quicker. You can see him pull over to one side, and let Jake Maloney go and chase down these front 2. He knows better than anybody else. If something happens between those 3, Madison will be best placed to try and capitalise.
I don't know what's come over Jake Maloney tonight. He is nothing short of lightning fast. Madison down the last 3 laps, 43.1, 43.6, 43.7. Jake Maloney probably on the same setup, 42.6, 42.6, 42.8. That is absolutely lightning fast, and he's definitely going to be in this front fight if he can keep that pace.
And that's the key here. It's all about getting into the fight, but old Father Time is starting to crop up in. There are 9 laps to go here in this race, 8.5 now as they head out of Piratella towards Acqua Minerale. And this is the key, 8 laps and a half to close down 3 or 2.5 seconds at the front. It's got to be 0.3 a lap. They've had some help over the fact that Webster and Myers have been battling, but crucially, Webster's got clean air. Myers is pretty much trying to stay within a second right now. They're going to be running those lap times very similar to Maloney. This is the case to be made. Does Maloney have more turn of pace than these two up front?
Yeah, I think the thing for Maloney is I think Myers is probably going to struggle to hang on to Cooper Webster here. So I think the issue is that Maloney, I think, almost certainly will catch Brady Myers. You can see visibly just how much he's pulling in these guys through each and every corner. But whether he can catch Brady, pass Brady, and then still be able to keep Cooper, I'm not sure.
43.1 Cooper Webster, Myers lap invalidated. You look at one Jake Maloney, he takes 0.2 off. Gap to the race lead down to 2.4 seconds. Gap to Myers, that's key, 1.7. He's in a second if he is to try and make that one work. Other battles though out on track. Look at this though. You've got Steve Jansen, Clint Shane Smith and David Kinman at the moment in a 3-car scrap for 16th place. Clint having a good little look there down on the brakes at the first Ravazza. Through the second Ravazza though, did slide wide through that downhill braking zone, and ultimately that's going to cost him any chance of a move potentially in towards turn 2 at Tamburello.
Yeah, that's it. Big racing back towards the back there. Brody Kostecki, although we saw him have that bit of an awkward moment with Hinsey earlier in the race, he has been, without doubt, our biggest mover and shaker. Obviously, Scott's race winner in the last month, and he's driven that car from 31st to 8th. Although that thing with Hinsey was a little bit ugly, you can't deny awesome drive from Brody in this one.
You can't deny the pace, absolutely, you're correct, but you can look at the racing skills, and in terms of what has happened in that race, you may have been a bit too forceful for some people's taste buds, I think is the right way, the diplomatic way. Say that, people look at me here, Burton, and go, Jake Spare, really diplomatic? When's that ever been a statement?
What? Can we get a quick Hinsey, Cam? Hinsey's still out there.
He is.
He's still chilling out down there at the left-hander up there.
Absolutely.
Surprised no one's hit him yet, which is a little bit scary. But I believe we saw something like that here on the iRacing Esports Network in the Pesca race on Saturday night, Spare. I think it was Gianni was up in the fence for the whole race too.
Well, he had a nice view, and I guess Thomas Hinz has a nice view of how the racing's looking. Now, look at Brady Myers over that last lap. He clawed 0.2 back in here on Cooper Webster. He's not done here in this race. He wants to come back, and the gap behind is 1.5 seconds here for Jake Maloney, who is the quickest of all of these drivers at the moment. It's coming together for a grandstand finish, but this is the key. 6 2/3 laps remaining here in this race. Lap 21 of 27. Maloney has got to get within a second or hope Myers starts attacking.
Yeah, that's it. For Brady, this is a really hard mental game to play. You've obviously had an incident with Cooper Webster, right, where Cooper came off worse for sure. And then being passed by him so aggressively, having a lap older tyres, and then being chased so hard by Jake Maloney. It almost will feel as a driver for Brady Myers like everything's stacked against him, and it's really hard at a circuit like this where you've got to be so accurate and so careful.
Harley Haber and Darren Lobb have come together down at the turn of Tamburello. On the brakes, Darren Lobb just couldn't slow it up enough, and ultimately there, Harley Haber letting his feelings be known as he defends heavily against Lobb going through that section. Do not mess with me, I am a lot quicker than you, as he makes his way on by. But the front is where all the eyes are looking at the moment. It looks like it was a case of stasis for this last lap. Not really many inroads being made, as Cooper Webster knows his team boss has just jumped into session and is looking at him right now at the moment. A 10th for Webster that time by. Maloney equal to Myers. It was a case, Burton, a case of stasis.
Yeah, that's it. I think Jake Maloney has also taken all the good life out of those Dunlops in those last few laps. He's put together an awesome few laps, but not quite quick enough to that front pack. So now he's going to have Madison down, I think, starting to claw him back. Maloney's so impressed with his pace, but I think he's just taken the best out of those times.
It certainly does look that way, but we will look back because Clint Shane Smith is now in a better position here. Try and make that move, but he gets a horrible run out to the final corner. He's been closing up 2/10, 3/10 down this long straight. He's got a setup built for this straight line, it seems, does Clint, but ultimately he's not finding the move done. David Kinman sat behind waiting as well. They are going to stay in line astern at this moment in time. No chances for moves to be made, but Webster is just doing everything that he needs to. Remember, he's got no drop rounds left in this championship if he wants to fight for it, Burton. He needs 4 perfect results from now to the end of the season, and here at Imola, he's doing exactly what he needs to. Doesn't matter if it's an inch or a mile, he leads.
Yeah, that's it, and I think he just needs to control the race, as you say. He's got a lap better tyres, a bit wide down there at the second to last corner. That will allow Brady to get a little bit tighter up into this draft. Good exit from Brady too. He's not going to be close enough for a move, but little mistakes like that you can't afford at this stage anyway.
Exactly, that's the key, and look at the gap as it crosses the line. Was almost 0.6 of a second, it's now down to 4. Brady Myers on a 43.3, but Maloney closed both of them down, has got the gap to 1.3 seconds. And remember, Brady Myers is going to hit that wall where he either has to make the move or stay behind, and this is going to bring Maloney back in even closer right now with 5 laps to go here at this magical Imola circuit, my favourite place of them all. And here's why: because it brings together close racing like this with pretty much any vehicle you can find on the iRacing service. That much you can say is a guarantee.
Yeah, I'm really on Team Maloney in this race. I want to see him get involved in this front fight. Looking back at the start, it looks like Maloney had a bit of a computer or internet-related issue off the start and actually didn't see the lights come up. So that's why he got such a poor start. So I really, really want, with his pace, he really deserves a shot to try and win this race.
He's been down as low as 10th place. He's been charging up through the field, and now he can see himself pretty much almost within 1 second of the margin that he needs. There is the number 1 car behind them of Madison Down in 4th position, just quietly going about his race. He started in 4th place. He's in 4th right now. Hasn't made any progress, hasn't been able to challenge those drivers at the front. But again, consistency for Madison Down will close him in on James Scott, and surely the 160 points he needs to take the lead of the championship, he will take with a 4th place finish here today. Round the final corner and onto the front stretch once again, and you can visibly see that Jake Maloney is in the wheelhouse right now. Will get gaps as they cross the line. Cooper Webster, his gap increases to 6 1/3 tenths of a second, but it's 8 tenths now. Maloney versus Myers. Maloney's now officially in this fight with 4 to go.
Yeah, that's it. And funnily enough, Sperry, Madison actually made a massive mistake that last lap. He might have had a chance to tackle these front 3, but actually made a big mistake down at the double rights at the bottom of the hill, which cost him a few seconds. But Maloney, he does actually have time. He's got 4 laps, and it is a long lap around here. And with his pace, he has got the time. The issue is going to be how easy Brady makes it, because if Brady makes it real easy, then he might have a shot at Cooper as well. But at this point in the race, when you're Brady Myers in this championship, you'll want to hold on to that second.
There's the old adage that Murray Walker has said, which has become a fable told as old as time, as Thomas Hinds finally gets himself out of session. That tale as old as time is that catching is one thing, passing is very much another. As they hit the brakes, Acque Minerale up the hill. The 3 of them come along once again. You've got the old guard, you've got the current guard, and you've got the new guard all together in one battle at this moment in time. On the brakes, right, left of the Variante Alta at this moment in time. Those big anti-cut curves, you try and take as much as you can out of them at this point. And now we're again in this stasis position where it is no mistakes driving for all of these drivers at the front of the field. They know what they need to do. They just need to drive it cleanly between now and the end of this race.
And we're going to get a big toe this time by for Jake Maloney. It hasn't been his best lap that he's run this race. Couple small mistakes through the chicanes, but he's starting to feel a bit of that aero push as well now. So the margin looks like it's actually opened up a little bit that last time by to the leader. Anyway, Maloney's still looking quite fast.
Well, actually, Webster was the slowest driver of them all with a 43.5. Maloney, a 43.2. Top three split, 1.1 seconds. It's 6/10 pretty much between both drivers at this moment. So now they are equidistant to each other as they look to go through. This is a tough battle to really gauge because it only takes one driver being able to get aggressive through a couple corners, find a 10th here or there, wider line, by one Mr. Brady Myers going through there, and there's a 10th that comes back to Jake Maloney. So now every time you look, there is going to be a case where a driver will pick up here and will pick up there, and it's a case of just trying to find the minimal gains.
Yeah, that's it. I feel like we're destined for a bit of an anti-climax here. I think Cooper Webster's done what he needs to do this lap. As long as there's no big mistake, he should be able to keep this win ahead of Brady Myers as we're coming to 2 to go. I think our fight is going to be P2, but again, Brady Myers has actually driven a fairly good last couple of laps. Very little mistakes. He really doesn't seem to have the rear tyre life of his competitors on his setup, but still managing it nicely enough, he should be able to hold on.
Well, this is going to be crucial. Remember, Cooper Webster has made one mistake today, and he did so on his in-lap. There are no guarantees here as they will have just 2 laps remaining here at Imola as they will cross the stripe. So now you start looking at this one. Brady Myers is really much in pressure here because there is Jake Maloney who's just sitting there, but the draft, it's a case of the toe. It's just saving Brady at this point in time. The gap up to 6/10, but it's now 3 3/4 behind. Maloney is so close, he can touch second place, but he just cannot get himself there, closes himself up under the brakes. But once more, he's left there. He is stuck. In terms of other battles on track at this point in time, there are very few to keep an eye on. Preston Leach right down at the back of the field, and that is pretty much it in terms of pickup sticks. You've got Lee Ellis maybe and Kurt Stenberg, but really not much in terms of this one except for your battle at the front with a lap and a half left.
Yeah, that's it. Big slide through the first chicane that lap for Jake Maloney. I think his rear tyres have given up at this point. He's done the same amount of laps just about as all of these guys, but he's done them so much faster that he just would have killed those rear tyres, and it's going to pain him so much that he got so close after that shocking start. But with about 1.5 to go now, I think a mistake is what it's going to have to take from Brady for Maloney to do it.
Yep, that's the key here. Very wide, using all the road there. Coming up Acqua Minerale, that complex section. Into the right, left as they go along. There will be 1 lap to go when they get to the line. And, well, Burton, what's the pressure going to be like for Brady here as he will have to defend on the final lap?
The thing is, Sparrow, we've mentioned over previous weeks how strong the draft is, and the thing is although Brady Myers has Maloney in his tow, he's still in Cooper's tow, and he's done a good job to keep that tow, which means it's going to be so much harder for Maloney to get by. You know, he's got to really get a run and maybe go for a bit of a dive. Not a good exit off the last corner from Maloney, so that'll inspire a bit of confidence in Brady. 1 lap to go.
Time to dig. It's the last lap, and Brady Myers has the gap enough here on the brakes into turn number 1. Webster 7/10 down the road at the moment is just giving himself enough. 2 wheels cocked up and a little slide from Maloney on the rears. There means that the gap stays the same between these two for second and for third place as they hit the brakes into the Villeneuve chicane, the second of 3 chicanes out on this track. Then comes Toza, this fantastic left-hand corner, one of the toughest and most underrated corners in all of sim racing. Up the hill they come along, no dramas for these drivers, but now they'll head to Piratella, which is a 90-degree left-hand corner, which is always able to catch drivers out who think they can go faster than they can. Ultimately, no issues for these. They drive down the hill to Acqua Minerale right now. But soon, they are running out of overtaking opportunities. You've got the Variante Alta and you've got the Ravazzas. That's all you've got left here, Jake, if you want second position out on this circuit. Myers driving fantastically at this point with Webster just staving off the challenge, keeping drivers at an arm's distance, and knowing that he has done everything that he has needed to so far in this race. The last chance saloon comes up, and I'm afraid, partner, it's not going to be a case for you. Gonna put 6 in the chamber, on the brakes, into the left-hander, not close enough, goes Jake Maloney. Surely one last mistake could do something, but you're out of time, and you're out of road, and someone who has got himself to the end of the road with an absolutely flawless drive, save for a half spin, has been Cooper Webster. He keeps the championship alive with a massive win here at Imola. Second for Myers, third for Jake Maloney. Madison Downs should take the championship lead coming out of this one. Out of fuel he was over the line.
Yeah, that's it. Awesome drive by Cooper Webster tonight. Really decisive and aggressive move on Brady Myers that got it done. But I just have to feel for Jake Maloney. He was at 1.5 seconds off the race lead, and to bring it down to 1.1 on a sort of offset tyre strategy whilst passing cars is seriously impressive, and you've got to argue that he might have had that win tonight. But we're having a look back to Janssen and Haber. Haber trying to recover from what has been an awful race for his championship and an awful couple of weeks for his championship. Janssen's close, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to do anything.
And this is key. Harley Haber made that move, actually, by cutting the chicane and serving to slow down pretty consistently. So Harley Haber was looking every which way, being very erratic with the way he tried to get by Steve Janssen. It worked in the end, but it wasn't, I would say, a Route 1 overtake, I would call that one. But Harley Haber, 18th place. This is pretty much the death knell in the coffin for him to say championship's all but over. Christian Smart makes it over the line. You go halfway for the line here around this place. The last drivers coming over the line here to try and get themselves going forward. So official classified results then up on your screen. Cooper Webster picks up the race win in 47 minutes and 30 seconds. Brady Myers not happy. I didn't realise that people move out of the way, or have to move people out of the way in order to win the race. That's what he's saying. He's not quite too happy about the way that Webster made that move, but it's second for Myers. Jake Maloney, a great recovery. He dropped down as low as 10th place, but he gets himself third position overall, just ran out of time. Madison Down picks up fourth in the championship lead, with Wayne Burke in fifth, a quiet drive on his own. Same for Adam Briggs, a very respectable sixth place for him. Ryan O'Sullivan picks up seventh with Brody Kostecki, your biggest mover and shaker in the field, 31st up to 8th, but had his own series of dramas, of course, with Thomas Hins. Ninth position goes to Andrew Dyson, and Rob Bowden picks up a big top 10 for the Tanked SRT team.
Yeah, that's it. And over the page we go. We've got a few drivers here who I think drove just really smart, quiet, sort of calculated races tonight. So Brian Borg up 5 spots, 16th to 11th. That's a good result for him. Zach Hanlon was in a few dramas. He was fighting Lee Ellis quite hard and managed to get the one up on him in P12. Lee, as I say, in 13th. Kurt Stenberg up 10 spots tonight. Really nice calculated drive from him for P14. Thomas McMillan in 15th with Clint Smith 16th. David Kidman 17th, and Harley Haber pretty much ending his championship just about tonight in 18th, with Janssen and Hobson quiet races in 19th and 20th.
There's Wayne Hewitt, 21st, and Greg Sharp in 22nd position. He would hold off Corey Preston to 23rd, who was on the recovery drive. Guy Leach, 24th, with then you got Samuel Collins and Jack Withers, Darren Lobb and Christian Smart, the last drivers over the line, and 3 retirements here today. Tom Freer, we all know about Thomas Hins' retirement. He was very, very upset with the way that race went and spent a good 15 laps just chilling out on the outside of Piratella. And with technical issues, Jordan Caruso could not even make it to the grid after his qualifying of 6th place. A massive shame for the Evolution Race Team driver. But this has been a very, very crucial race in terms of how things have gone in terms of this one, Burton. But you have to start looking now at these last 3 rounds of the championship. There's 2 philosophies that you can take. You can either decide, well, no, I'm not going to really run this one. Or maybe you go, I have to run this one because drives around me will pick up points otherwise.
Yeah, that's it. Next week we got a Lime Rock Sperry. So typically smaller track, one that guys don't enjoy driving that much. So the problem you have there is we're not likely to see quite as high a soft as we typically get. So Lime Rock, I think, is going to be a bit of a nothing race. It's going to be very exciting to watch, but in terms of points, I'm not sure it's going to be meaning much for these guys' championship. However, after that, you've got arguably our two highest participation rounds of the season in Watkins Glen and Mount Panorama Bathurst. So really, really interesting end of the season. Bathurst is normally our highest strength of field. So in terms of sort of championship changing last round, really excited for that one.
Well, this is going to be key, and the only place you can find the conclusions to this championship is on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, because we're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Make sure that you check out all of our good friends here, the likes of RaceSport TV, Apex Racing TV, the Global Sim Racing Channel, Podium Esports, LSR TV, and all the like that have content here on the network. But we're going to bring our proceedings to a close for this one. A massive thanks to Motum Simulations, who have been sponsoring the replay. And from Jake Kennedy on the cameras and Jake Burton on my left-hand side, I have been Jake Sperry. Cooper Webster, once again, finds a big victory here today. He needed this one. His championship relies on result upon result upon result, and he can only find wins or busts. At this point in time, this championship is far from over, and Lime Rock Park is by no means a cookie cutter. It's going to be a tough place to go out there and get the win you need. We'll see you in a week's time at the fabled Lime Rock Park circuit in Lakeville, Connecticut.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rhythm, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get involved!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Yeah. I'm ready to play now. Put me in the game now. I came here to prove it. I'm ready to do it. I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now. I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, my time. None of you people can